one of those missions, I remember when we went across Denmark up there, they threw up a smoke screen down there, so they had something down there they didn't want us to see. I don't know what it was, I didn't know, but the smoke just boiled out down there to make a smoke screen we couldn't see as we crossed over Denmark.
That kept you from hitting the target you wanted to hit.
Well, they didn't know what it was we were after because they didn't know where we were going, but we weren't bombing. We went on across Denmark, went on open water again and hit way over there on Switemund. It's way over there near the Polish, right on the Polish border. Of course, at that time, Germany had all of that under their control. Poland and all of that too.
Didn't you hang down out of the bomb bay doors or something like that one time?
Yeah, it's sort of secondary though, Jerry. Sometimes there was man-made trouble we had, and so you don't want to tell the man-made trouble.
Well, it's still trouble.
We dropped our bombs through the bomb bay doors, so we had to get them back up because
in other words,
they were hanging down.
Somebody forgot to open them.
No, it was fouled up more involved than that is what it was. But it wasn't our fault, but it was a fault that shouldn't have happened. No way. We did it twice. It happened twice, but only once I had to swing down there and pull them up. We were able to get them up the first time without doing that.
How did you swing down and pull them up?
I just put my legs over the rail in the catwalk going through the Bombay section where the bombs are on both sides. They have a thing, and then they go out this way too, through catwalks, and then the bombs were in there in this section, and that section, those things. So I swung down behind my knees and just swung out and grabbed the door and pulled it up, and then my engineer then got a hold of it, and together we were able to pull it up. So you see, as long as it was
it's pretty heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, didn't seem to be all that heavy then, because when you're in that kind of trouble, you don't realize it. Yeah.
How high were y'all when you're doing that?
We were back low, coming into England then.
Yeah.
Crossing the ocean now, crossing the English Channel, probably during that time. But we were crossing the English Channel when we did it, because didn't take long once we crossed the channel that we'd be coming down for our base. See? So we was crossing the channel and it happened. So we just pulled them up and got them up to where we could land, or we couldn't have landed the plane without getting those doors up there. What precipitated the thing, we made our bomb run, and but we didn't get over the target correctly, so they canceled the dropping of the bombs and told us to close the doors. And then when we reached the point to drop them, they didn't give us the order to open them. So that's where it was. That's where it came in.
So did that happen with a bunch of planes?
I don't know. Not that I know of. That's what I don't know. I don't understand it really what it was. I don't know if it did or didn't. I don't know.
But anyway, somebody somewhere just didn't follow the proper sequence, right?
There's something there.
So, did a bomb drop and hit the doors?
Yeah, when we released it, when we did have, then they said bombs away. Then the navigator and the front gunner, what do you call them, the belly gunner?
Nose gunner?
Nose gunner. The nose gunner. Then they did the releasing of the thing.
Yeah.
They just released them, see, without knowing what the doors was open or not. They just assumed they were, I guess.
So did it like break any latches or anything like that?
Well, they had to repair the whole thing. It just went right down through the doors, see, and they had to redo all of that when we got back to the base. All I know, we didn't get blamed for it, so
yeah.
I do remember that. Only time we ever got blamed for anything was, we took off one morning, and as I remembered the mission, it turned out to be a little rough one, so thank goodness we did what we did do. But one of the waist gunners forgot his parachute. And we were already took off, and we realized he left his parachute, so we had to immediately come back to base to get our parachute. Now we were loaded with bombs, see. So but we couldn't get back into our base because the fog had already closed us in.
Yeah.
And sitting right on the ground. So we went over to another base, and they allowed us to land at another base, and we picked up a parachute and took off and got back with the formation, went on, made the mission, but got shot up pretty bad on different things. So good thing he had his parachute because we didn't have to use it, but he sort of let know you had one in case you did.
Yeah.
It turned out pretty bad. But when we got back from that mission, the squadron commander back on base there raked our pilot across the coals pretty heavy.
He said you should have kept going, right?
No, I don't really know what
Just
he
didn't
what he
check
did,
up enough or something.
But he just caused the man forgot his parachute. I assume that's why he got onto him. But the man should have known, to have it.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. But they didn't. It happened to be the man, by the way, that missed a mission later on. But I don't think it had anything to do with that, because that was early in the time when it happened. So I don't believe they did anything to him for it. But I don't remember anything. But that was the funniest thing, though, that when we got back, we was trying to find another base that we could get, because there's so many bases in that general area that, they're just all dotted within 3 miles of each other there. So,
Yeah.
and so we were trying to get into one of them. And I looked down and saw the cloud was right on the ground, but up that way it was just as clear as it could be up there above us. But there was a train going down the track, and it had a smokestack, and the smoke was coming through the cloud, and you couldn't see the train a bit.
Really?
None at all. That's how low it was hanging. And so those to me was a little more scary, was coming in those conditions, and nearly every one of them we came in was under conditions similar to that, and it was actually getting shot at all the time.
There's some bad weather in England.
And you come down through, you get up on into the clear, then you come down through a long ways, like forever, without ever seeing daylight at all, so to speak. You're just coming down through the clouds.
Yeah.
And then you end up alone. One time that we came down, and I didn't know, it looked like we wasn't going to come out before we hit the ground, and then we were just off the ground. We were flying around just off the ground, and all of a sudden we saw a church steeple of a church rising up there, and the pilot dipped his wing to miss that church steeple. So that was how low you were having to fly, and to get under the clouds, see.
Yeah.
We were on the ground that close.
Goodness.